Welcome to Tactical Reviews for a look at the Extrema Ratio K-TALON, a new karambit from Extrema Ratio, which I first saw at IWA 2022, and now I have the chance to try it out. And what we actually have here are two versions, a stone wash and a blackened stone wash blade, and a couple of add-on mounting accessories, the Ulti-Clip, which we've seen on the Sartre before, and another belt clip option here, both of which we'll take a closer look at a little bit later. So first up, if we open up one of these before we take a closer look. So this is how the K-TALON arrives. So in the box, a little bit of paperwork, our quality control, maintenance information and guarantee information. And the K-TALON. So let's get rid of all the packaging and get in for a closer look. And taking a look over these two versions we've got, so at the top we have the standard stone wash, so just a matte finish on the steel, and the other finish is referred to as dark stone, and this is a kind of worn or stone washed blackened finish. So coming in now just on one of the knives to take in some of those details in overall and the sheath design and features. So it comes with, in effect, it's a bit large for this, but let's say a neck knife. So we've got a neck lanyard with an adjusting toggle. So you could wear it round your neck. I think this is probably a little bit big and heavy for that, but that's what it comes with. So the kydex sheath with that paracord woven through it. So saying that, that's your standard configuration, and there are a couple of mounting options. So the Ulti-Clip, which we've seen first for Extrema Ratio with the Sartre, but it's an extremely versatile system and can be used on any of those with a sheath with mounting holes that allow for it, and an appropriate size for you to either use a pocket mount or wherever you can fit the clip. So this Ulti-Clip size, that's how large you've got to fit it on. So it's more of a pocket clip type of mounting, this one. So this you would fit somewhere like so that you can slip the sheath into the top of your pocket, have it fixed in place. Then we have a belt mounting option. So again, multiple mounting points to match up with the kydex, and in this case there's a locking lever, and with that released you're able to flip up the belt attachment with a belt width stop here, so you can adjust it for a tight fit on your belt, and a little gripper inside. So find the width of your belt. That would slip down next to your body with the sheath on this side, clip it into place, and then the little lock, which again would be body side, so that's not going to come undone, and that would be a belt mounting option. So back to looking at the kydex sheath. So little points of note. So in terms of retention, there is a dimple here and a matching dimple on the blade, and those lock into each other. On the top of the sheath, the bolts that are holding the top of the kydex edges together, there are some compressible washers in there, so if you want to increase the resistance of removing and fitting the knife, you can wind those bolts up, and that will squeeze in the top of the sheath and take a tighter grip on the knife. You'll also see here a small drainage hole near the tip of the blade, and your typical eyelet construction with extra slots to give you lots of mounting options. Now onto the knife. So our karambit curved style, less extreme than some karambits, but still a good hook shape. Nice sized ring. Don't think this is going to give you any issues even with gloved hands, either for forward grip or reverse grip. Still think there's enough room for a gloved finger through there. So with Extrema Ratio styling, we have the finger grip shaping. Overall profile is very slim, which is one of the design points for this knife, is that sheath as well, it's all very slim. In fact, those bolts are the widest point. So slim kydex, slim grip profile, making it very easy to carry. So single piece handle slabs held on with 4 screws. And that's our first look at the Extrema Ratio K-TALON. The next section of video will be detailed technical measurements. Actually, just before the technical measurements, I wanted to have a little look at popping the Ulti-Clip on. So first of all, that involves removing the cord. The lanyard comes with a knot there at the edge of the sheath, so to get this off, we're going to need to fully unlace it, and that does mean, first of all, undo that knot, remove the toggle, because there isn't any other way we're going to get the laces out. So just a little point there, the melted ends of the cord, they get a little bit less ease of movement, and getting it through the toggle, you can't pull them through together, you have to pull one a little bit first. I'm going to leave the toggle on that one to avoid the toggle popping apart. So now we've got our one free end to start unlacing. that's the cord removed from the sheath. So that's our kydex sheath on its own. So with our two mounting options, so for the belt mount, what you want to do is, this is probably going to be fitted on the straight side, whichever way round. You might need to move it round for left or right handed. For the Ulti-Clip, this is going to be based a bit on preference, and before you fit it, try putting the sheath into your pocket where you want to carry, because what that's going to do is tell you where you think the clip part should end up. So before we go into the detailed technical measurements, what I did want to show was fitting of the Ulti-Clip. As I've discovered, there is a little knack to this where the fitting differs just slightly from what Ulti-Clip would normally show, and that's something I'm just going to run through now so that you don't come across any difficulties if you do this yourself. So first of all, the K-TALON comes with say a neck lanyard or something, which you just need to undo, take that out of the way. So now that you have the sheath completely clear of cord, and taking a look at the Ulti-Clip, so it uses what might be termed Chicago screws. So there are two parts. You have a screw and a post, the post part being effectively like a bolt but a screw head. And this is where we need to make a little distinction in the way that these are normally fitted. So Ulti-Clip normally would have the screw fitted onto what they call this, the front of the clip, and at the back you would then have the post. Now with the slots on the K-TALON, these actually measure at 4mm across, and the post measures at 4.5mm. So if you try to fit one of these posts into the slot, it will not go. So it would look like you're possibly restricted to fitting it where the eyelets are. Well, not quite the case. So in fact, you might see a little bit of marking on here where I've had a previous attempt at this. So what it actually means, and the way that Extrema Ratio have gone with fitting this, is instead of the screw going into the front, you put the post, and then I will show you how that fits. So with this important bit of information before we start, now that we know that, let's have a look at possible fitting positions. So bearing in mind that there's a couple of things we need to avoid. One is the clip riding up over the tension adjusters, because that will bend the clip, so it has to sit down here. Then we also need to look at the fact that, so I'm right-handed, I'm going to fit this in my right hand pocket at the front, so this might then be different if you're putting it in a back pocket or into the inside of your trousers. So if you imagine here, right-handed, that the pocket is going to be on this side, so I'm going to need the clip to hold on to the pocket on that side. So now we look at possible fitting positions so that it's slipped into a pocket, clipped onto the edge, and this is where I'm going to fit it. So having decided on this position, and I can't use the eyelets because I'd have to go all the way around here, so I want to fit it in this position. And this is where, if I were to attempt to put the screw normally, it does not come all the way through. And then if I take a post, I can't get it started. I can't put it into the slot. So it looks like I can't fit it. But as we know, to get around this without making any modifications, you could file the slot a little bit wider if you wanted, but if you put the post the front side, it's still sticking proud because it doesn't go into the slot. However, this way round I can get the screw started into the post. So, like so, that's starting to be held in place. So now I need to find where the other post is going to go. And again, I can start that through the slot, and we can just get that started. If I can do it without cross threading. Nope. Okay, so at this point, because the posts are not fitting into the slots, the clip is not held securely. And what I also am going to do here is a bit of fine tuning as to where I want the clip as high up as it can be. So about like so. And now, let's see if I can hold this and show it happening. If I start to do up the screw, this will now pull the post into the slot. That's starting to really lock the clip in place. So let's look at this one here. And again, start to do that up, and the post is pulling into the slot. So although it's a 0.5 millimeter friction fit effectively, and I couldn't push it into the slot by hand, doing the screw up, as I say, the opposite way to the way Ulti-Clip would normally be put together. It has pulled the post into the slot, and that is now holding very securely. So this would then slip into my pocket as seen from above, clip onto the edge of my pocket, and now easy, secure grip. So that's the Ulti-Clip and the little bit of information you need to get that fitted on the K-TALON. And now we'll move on to the detailed technical measurements. And now we move on to the detailed technical measurements for the K-TALON. So as we have effectively two different sheath versions, we have that with a lanyard and that with the Ulti-Clip fitted. I'm just going to do a weight difference. I suspect it won't be very much. So this is the, as it comes out of the box, lanyard version, and that's 169.3 grams, and with Ulti-Clip fitted 177.6, so the steel Ulti-Clip adding a little bit of weight there. So we'll do the weight on its own, 126.9. Just out of curiosity, as I have another version, I'd expect that to be exactly the same, 127.9. So let's run through the other dimensions. So length in sheath. Now obviously this is a curved karambit, so we're sort of measuring across here, and that is 193 millimeters. Width of the sheath, if I just take the kydex part, that is 67 millimeters. Thickness, now again I'm going to avoid the Ulti-Clip here and just go with the thickest part, which is the tension retention adjuster here, and this will be pretty slim, so that's 13.2, and if we, just out of curiosity, because officially those bolts do stick out, it's 9.9, so I think there may be a quoted 10 millimeters, but that's not including the retention bolts there. Okay. So overall length of the knife, and we have 175 millimeters. Blade length, well, I'm just going to stick the end of the tape in here, sweep it round, and I've got 72 millimeters, but possibly 75. So taking this part of the handle, now 76 millimeters. Okay, very slim profile. So handle thickness 9.7 millimeters. With the handle depth, I'm going to take this largest part, 29.9 millimeters. Now we're going to look at the balance point. So the pressure on my finger is very, very light. with a curve, it makes this a slightly awkward measurement. So approximately 90 millimeters from the tip. Okay, blade thickness. .7 millimeters. So we'll have a look at the grind here and just see. So that is sitting flat, so it's flat grind, obviously the whole blade tapering round, curving round. Grind length I'm going to have to take as a maximum here, so 20.1 millimeters. And we'll take the blade depth at a similar position, 31.7 millimeters. So now I'm going to measure the primary bevel angle. So that is spot on 8 degrees. Now onto the laser bevel protractor. So typically here, and the way this device measures, you'd have a straight edge sitting between these two rests. Now with a karambit blade being so curved, I am not sure that this is going to give us a good reading. So it's a little bit high, but let's see. So this will be a bit of an estimate. I'm going to have to come away to see this. So not the clarity it normally is, and I'm going to have to say as an estimate it's 30 degrees for the right hand factory edge bevel and 30 degrees, so a total of a 60 degree edge bevel. So let's look at the point angle. And that is 52 degrees point angle. So thickness behind the edge. So here we're going to look to use some calipers to measure how much thickness there is behind the cutting edge. And that is 0.83 millimeters behind the cutting edge. Rake. Now this is easier on a straight handle and straight blade that has some rake with a curve, constant curve of a karambit. This is very much a guesstimate, so I'm going to take a rough center line of the handle, a rough center line of the blade, and say that we have approximately a rake of 32 degrees. But because that's all a curve, that's taken with a little bit of a pinch of salt. And the last thing here is to measure the factory edge sharpness. I will measure this on both of the examples just to see what kind of consistency there might be. Remember, with a factory edge, that is just like your first tank of fuel in a car, so not something you should rely on, because you should be sharpening it and maintaining that edge. So let's with this curved blade shape, it's going to be a little bit more awkward to take these measurements, but please bear with me, and we'll do the best I can here. So, center sharpness first. I can't curve the knife down enough with the pivot on that side, so let's see what I can do here. Okay, so this is introducing issues. As I rotate this, it should cut straight down, but it is hooking over. So, okay, so this isn't what I would like to do, but I need some kind of pivot here, so I'm just putting a plastic box next to it, and that should allow me to rotate the knife down onto the filament. And we have a measurement of 360 for the center. Now for the heel. $230. And for the tip of the blade, certainly proving a bit of a challenge on the sharpness measurer. Okay. This is just not working due to the curve. Right, completely less than ideal. Let's see what we can get here. I'm going to have to support it on the pivot and attempt a reading. 365. Okay, let's reload the test filament. And we'll measure the other one with all the difficulties. So center measurement. $328. Heel. $235, and the tip. $355. So there we have the Extrema Ratio K-TALON detailed technical measurements. Thank you for joining me. Get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.